Excellent. And as we get this going, I just wanted to take a moment to start just by thanking everyone for joining us through their busy days. We're really excited for the opportunity to walk you through some of the demonstrations and just thought leadership we have prepared for you today. We'll kick it off with some brief introductions and then go into some industry trends, really identifying like why we need to be talking about AI and certainly why now and how we're at an inflection point. We'll then have a really close colleague of mine, someone I've worked with for a number of years, Ludzi, go into a really practical solution demonstration so we can see this in action. And then as I mentioned at the beginning, we'll then carve out some time for some Q&A and talk about next steps. So Ludzi, maybe I'll have you do an introduction of yourself to start, and then I'll go further into myself and kind of walk us through some of those industry insights.
Thank you, and thanks, David. And as David mentioned, David and I have known each other for a while, and our paths have always been intertwined and crossing. So my name is Ludzi. I'm a principal architect and partner with Trail Consult. We're a consulting group that supports clients in the energy, manufacturing, heavy equipment industry. And my background is primarily educational-wise, studied computer science and business out in British Columbia. So out at University of British Columbia, worked at Deloitte doing implementation, spent some time at Traction on Demand, a company bought by Salesforce. And was at Salesforce where I actually met David as a solution engineer supporting clients in the energy high-tech space, and then went on to build out the Trail Consult. So today I'm going to really focus on the point of view, what we see our clients thinking about and doing with agents, as well as some core Salesforce service capabilities. So that's a bit about myself. And David, I'll let you cover your intro.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And so for myself, it's David Jelena. For the better part of a decade, I've had the privilege of supporting organizations across Western Canada in using and leveraging our Salesforce platform, really in my mind to be a key driver for innovation and then competitive differentiation. I recently boomeranged back to Salesforce after spending about 2 years leading a North America sales team for an integration and automation platform, called a company called Boomi. It was there that I really saw firsthand how layering business applications from like a system of record to then a system of engagement and really now beyond, and how this potentially new intelligent layer that sits on top can really create these competitive advantages for organizations and just drive efficiency. So Ludzi and I really are now excited to be able to share these concepts and how they directly apply to the energy sector to address some of the unique challenges we're seeing, but then also view it as an opportunity for organizations across Western Canada in the oil and gas sector. So the energy sector is really navigating significant market shifts on top of some like long-standing industry challenges. And I sense then we're all feeling the pressure of like market volatility, the increased demand for sustainable business practices, and just a fundamental shift of how the future of work works. These pressures, I think, can be broken down in just a few key areas. Maybe the first being the rise of like AI and just the data economy. I think this has created the need for us all to operationalize our data to cut costs and drive business efficiency. There's also been like an energy transformation and transition, and organizations in the market are pushing us all to reimagine our business models and meet sustainable goals while maintaining our business profitability. We also need to create like next generation field operations to like optimize how we maintain and predictably manage our field assets, while also ensuring the the safest operational practices for our employees and the people that drive our business forward. Bear with me. Ludzi, are you able to add people into the thing as I go through?
I might need to be co-host, but I think we might have to just pause and someone joins in. But I'll keep an eye on if I see anything, and I'll let you know. But yeah. Or if you want, I can share the screen.
No, I think we're good.
Perfect.
So I think, as we look at meeting these challenges, we believe that the industry needs to go beyond traditional CRM. It requires a true energy relationship platform, and this needs to be powered by your data, now leveraging AI and automation at scale to create these business efficiencies. For energy companies, the relationship in a CRM applies more to than just your customer. This is an ecosystem business, and relationships really are the key to our success. So that's why we think of ourselves as a platform to deliver enterprise-wide, like XRM, specific for the energy sector. And across this XRM, the 360 can certainly wrap around your customers, but it also needs to include your suppliers, other business stakeholders, joint venture partners and landowners, and certainly your employees, all of whom are critical to your success. So the X also realizes that this 360 needs to be asset-centric. And assets such as like pipelines, a well, a piece of heavy equipment, all of these are required, and we need to be able to orchestrate work across these dynamic relationships. And this has been a missing piece of most IT infrastructure. And that's where we feel our flexible platform is really designed to deliver this and can create some competitive advantage for you. So historically, energy companies have invested in systems of records, things like ERP and other operating systems. Yet critical information, it often is locked in silos. In fact, McKessoney's study found that 71% of oil and gas companies still rely on spreadsheets to pull systems of record to track critical business data. And these systems, they're rigid. They weren't really designed for the end user. So to compete today, companies need to add a system of engagement on top of these foundational record layers. Now, a system of engagement is mobile first. It's collaborative. It uses automation to simplify business process and bring data from the back office to the front office, because that's really where value is created. But now, amidst our modern AI revolution, even that's not enough. So we view that you need a system of intelligence, a system that brings AI agents, predictive intelligence, IoT directly to all of your daily applications, making every experience both smarter and faster. Gartner refers to this as pace layering. So at the bottom, you have a stable system of record. In the middle, you have truly what would be your system of differentiation, where you configure your competitive advantage unique to your business models. And now at the top, that's where we have our system of innovation. This is the flexible, experimental layer where you can explore new ideas and accelerate your time to value and this competitive advantage. This layered approach allows an organization to innovate at speed, and that's really the speed that now business is demanding. And I think this is a question that every organization needs to ask themselves is, how do you leverage your current systems to create a unique competitive advantage in how you go to markets? Excellent. So from here, what we love to be able to do is show this in practice. And I'll transition over to my colleague Ludsey, who's going to demonstrate how an intelligent agent works for oil and gas use cases, while continuing to discuss the real world business impacts we feel they yield for organizations in this space.
Thanks for that, David. And just to tie the loop on what David was mentioning around the different layers of engagement, this layers of intelligence, the stakeholders that you're working with, whether it's a supplier, a customer, or a partner, I think the one thing that I want to make very clear is that you can layer the different capabilities and leverage the different channels that those stakeholders are most comfortable with. So never are we, rarely are we ever seeing customers, with, obviously a green field, and they have, landscape where they're not necessarily needing to integrate with additional systems. So to make it very clear, the CRM can sit on top of or work in collaboration with other systems of records to ensure that you're getting the value across your value chain and also across your customers, partners, employees, and stakeholders. So I'll go ahead, David, and I'll actually hop in and share my screen. And before I start, I might actually just call out, this is a very busy slide, but I want to also just kind of ground everyone. I think when we go through this demo, you're going to see quite a few capabilities, but I think the lens that you can look at this through is around the value being created around productivity, your employee or even your customer experience or your supplier experience, and also the reducing the cost to serve your clients, right? So in terms of what I'm going to go through in the next, I think, 15 minutes, I'm going to kind of take us through, a day in the life of a organization, which we'll call First Energy. And they'll have a new way of engaging with their stakeholders across the actual life cycle of that stakeholder. So we'll look at a bit of the generative capabilities from a self-service standpoint, and we'll look at the ways in which First Energy can actually support their stakeholders from multiple channels, whether that be email, phone, chat, or whichever channel is most effective. And we'll look at how we can actually reduce the cost to serve your clients. And then at the end, what we'll look at is some productivity tooling when it comes to actual field service and work order management when it comes to field operations. So a lot there, it's going to be pretty jam-packed, but I wanted to start with this initial site here, which could be any portal. It could even be a supplier portal. We have some customers that have quite a number of suppliers, and those suppliers have specific training documentation, SHAQ documentation that they need to make available. And the goal is to enable those partners in a way that's intuitive, easy to use. So one example that we're seeing a lot more of is getting your partners, getting your customers to be able to go through the tons of documentation. So this is just a very low-level example around an agent just grounded in your own FAQ documentation and embedded on a site. So you could have information that's stored in SharePoint, information that's stored externally, and bringing that into the knowledge of this generative agent, which allows you to really have a conversation with that data. And if I wanted to get more information about a warranty, and here I've gotten some good detail, but I want to hear more about the performance warranty, you can dive deeper in that scenario. And then you can see I'm not spelling it well, but it doesn't really matter because the agent takes into account the actual context in which the individual is writing. So someone might be, very much rushing through this, but you're able to get that right information for them. Now, I want to show just one example of, from a field technician standpoint, or even from a field operations standpoint, the types of actions that these agents are being able to work through. So if I wanted to, for example, schedule a service appointment directly with my field service technicians or directly with my my dispatch team, this is one example where you're able to actually enable that, right? So I can check if there's any additional contact information, and I can actually put the date. I can say tomorrow at 3, tomorrow at 3. And what you'll notice is that the agent's actually proactively taking the action of scheduling that appointment and confirming that. And I can do the same for rescheduling. Now, I want you to kind of just take a moment. This is a very simple example, but you can imagine this agent available in multiple channels. It doesn't have to be on a site. It could be through email. You could have it supporting your clients through SMS. You could have it supporting your clients through chat, right? So these are all different channels that you can select to make available to your clients and to your stakeholders. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a moment to take a peek into the life or the day in the life of Liam. So Liam is now logging into his system of record or his, command center, where he's able to see not only his performance, but the performance of his team. So I can actually see from a work order standpoint, all the field technician performance, what stage they're in, what's been scheduled, what's been dispatched, what my resolution times are. And all this data is coming from the active interactions that you're having with your clients, right? So just taking a look at how that service center can be supported from a field operations standpoint. And the area that I wanted to share in terms of how does this then tie to the different channels that you might be communicating with your clients is through the capability here, where we're actually able to make ourselves available through the multiple channels that we support. So whether it's telephone, whether it's email, whether it's a case on your site, but you're able to interact and log all those interactions and the performance of those interactions through this environment. Yeah. Now, the next area that I wanted to show is I'm going to take a little bit of a dive into a case, right? So a customer's logged in, there's an issue with a fixed asset that they have. Now, when they're here, what you'll notice is that they're looking at the first response resolution time. They're looking at the interaction here. Spent 4 months to resolve this case, but what you can see is just all the information around a particular issue. And what's really powerful about this interaction is if you wanted to take a look at any ways to resolve this case from a deflection standpoint, you also have your knowledge articles that are available to help service this client from a field technician standpoint or even a service agent. And one area that we typically see our clients looking at is they might need to, before going on site, they want to do a little bit of a remote diagnosis before having someone go out to the client. The way that this is supported is actually using a virtual remote assistant. And now the value here is that it really reduces the cost to service a client. So if I'm going to restart this session and I'm going to actually show it to you through video, just to kind of share the power of the platform. So if I was to go and send this invitation out, I'm getting a notification directly on my mobile phone, and it's asking me to join a remote session. Now join that remote session. And you can imagine if you have, quite a number of these, interactions and jobs that can be done remotely or can be resolved remotely, the amount of, time that's spent from a windshield standpoint, can be significantly reduced. So here you'll see, let's wait for it to connect. One second.
As that connects, Ledsy, I thought I'd share, one use case I've seen this applied in the oil and gas sector is if someone's inspecting a pipe or something along those lines, like an asset in the field, and there's a need to kind of get some video feedback back to dispatch around, that particular job. Being able to plug that right into the case that's dispatching, it can be really effective and certainly a big time saver. Certainly, maybe potentially add on some AI intelligence around the video that's coming in, and to be able to do diagnostics or things along this line. It can certainly get extremely powerful, and in terms of a modern workflow.
Exactly. So I took a couple of images, I took a couple of pictures there, and then I'll quickly go over to.
I'm so sorry, but
Oh, sorry. Oh, one
use
second.
this room for maintenance.
Oh, sorry. I just on the presentation. Just give me 10 minutes.
I was told that
You done
you
it
gave 30
30
minutes like an hour ago,
It's
and
just 1 second. Just apologies for that, folks.
I'm sorry.
1 second. Apologies, folks. I'll be back in 1 minute.
We'll just give Ludsey a moment. It looks like he got booted out of his room for some maintenance. But we'll, I think he'll just relocate and be able to join momentarily. We can use this time to open up for any questions. If anyone on the line had a question, comment to share as we wait for Ludsey to rejoin. Thanks, Tyler. Just reading your note now.
Yeah, I'm sure it's possible, but that's really nice, right? Because you could identify your problem, look at the knowledge database, query everything to the service case, basically, and then route to the correct provider.
Well, exactly. And I think you bring up a really interesting point around like using Salesforce had the ability to kind of maintain or build knowledge bases for a while. Organizations that have been able to do so, and that becomes a really critical asset around an AI strategy now, where that become where you can ground these type of AI capabilities, so they're truly unique to your business. So we're going beyond like a traditional like LLM, but now it's like truly like context around your business that you've institutionally built up for years, oftentimes these knowledge bases.
It's great too, because companies that have been on Salesforce for how many years have just been collecting all this information, and it's always been a pain in the ass to like filter and organize. And with AI now, you can like pull that data and build out your reports and logic around it, and then be able to service faster for sure.
Absolutely. And it looks, I don't thank you for that. And and I guess like that logic routing that you're referring to, certainly that can be like finding the right partner. Sometimes I've even seen it leveraged, like it's like if you'll have skills-based requirements based off of a particular work order. So, you're needing to manage like the certificates of that pipe fitter or whoever that might be. And it's actually even doing that type of mapping. So you're getting not only based off availability, like the first demo we showed, but potentially also showing now based off of credentials or getting like the right individual to get to work on a given job.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I know that we have a few minutes here, and really, no demo goes perfectly, especially in a self.
Is that the first time you've ever been booted out of a room, Leslie?
No, definitely not. But I did want to just kind of share that, from a cost to serve standpoint, that's really where we see most of the value coming from. And obviously, from an escalation standpoint, you still may need to have technicians that are being dispatched to an actual location or a specific site. And here you'll see the ability to actually select candidates, whether it's by skills or their availability, and have them out in the actual field. And what you'll see, again, the assets are available for you to actually look at. So if it's a specific pipe or it's a specific subcomponent from a heavy equipment that was installed, you actually know what the service history is against that specific asset. And now what I'll do is, once you actually get dispatched, if I was to take a view into the day in the life of an actual agent or a field technician, what I'll show is what they actually see on a day-to-day. So let me know you can see it. So this is just an example of, my morning. I have the actual location that I need to go to, the appointments that I have, and you select the actual work order, and it actually optimizes your day, right? So in terms of the order in which the appointments have been scheduled. For some clients, it's multi-day appointments for energy clients. It's not like you're going on a day-to-day. So you're actually able to have the multi-day appointments associated to a specific work order, and you can handle multiple work types, right? So when I say work types, you might have lots of, line items that need to be completed. You might have pre-forms that need to be completed from an HSSE standpoint, a safety assessment, vehicle inspection. So for every work order that's been completed, you can operationalize the touch points that your individual technicians are completing. And this really does create a lot of value for technicians, especially if there's quite a lot of information that they need to be aware of. Those FAQ documentations or those SOP documents can also be made available to individuals that are using the application, so that they're following a very clear path in terms of completing a specific work order. So I wanted to really just give that perspective, because as we kind of think about what we just went through, this is a peek into the future, right? So a lot of customers say, hey, do we need to do all of that at once? You can definitely take it in pieces and in components. So when it comes to being ready and how you actually prepare yourself, it's really around your strategy and culture, looking at what are the outcomes. I think we shared a bit of the value drivers for some of the use cases that we outlined, aligning from an executive standpoint on those value drivers, identifying the data and infrastructure. What are your systems of record? What is the existing infrastructure? How can it tie in to your AI strategy or within this ecosystem play with Salesforce supporting some of those field use cases? And then how are you going to govern and manage security, especially when you have multiple stakeholders that need to be accessing this information, right? We talked about field technician, we gave examples around suppliers, we gave examples around customers. All of those individuals have different layers of access, visibility, that you need to take into account. So this is really, I'd say this is like fast and furious in terms of what's possible with the platform. But I think it's a great place to think of what you can do. And some of these use cases and some of these examples are a starting point for a lot of our clients, and they build on the foundation and they continue to iterate over time. So I wanted to just kind of share that, and I hope that the maintenance is going to be completed pretty soon, so everyone is safe and sound. But that's everything that I wanted to make sure that we went through in terms of the capability in the system.
Great. Well, thank you, Ludsy. I know that takes us to our allotted 30 minutes, and you're bang on. It was a fast and furious session, really with the intention to hopefully spark an interest, spark that light bulb that we can further dig into as a partner. So if interested, often the call to action I would call out is Salesforce has a session that we call an AI workshop, where we can bring in specialists and really go through those AI readiness components that Ludsy shared. I really employ anyone watching this, whether it be webinar live or via a recording, to book an AI readiness session, a workshop with your Salesforce account team, to get the type of outcomes and deliverables that we can sort of help shape this roadmap for you. Again, very much appreciate the time and thank you for it. We'll open up to any questions in conclusion, if anyone has any. But again, thank you for your time. Maybe we'll just wait for a moment or two to see if anyone had questions that's still on the line. But thank you for, the time and participation. I'll trust that there are none.
Okay.
I can stop the recording.